Good morning. This is Karen Udis, and I'm here in Louisville, Kentucky with my friend Betsy Banfield Malone. Betsy is going to be telling you about background information on her blog, and also she's going to be giving you some insight into how we're all working together on the global currency reset.
I'd like to go over one of the issues that we brought up in a blog about who controls the world. And actually what we really need to talk about is who's in power. Power seems to be the key word when we just look at the politics and what's going on in our world. So that's what I'm really going to cover today. I put some notes down. First, we'll look at the power structure, and then we'll look at power in numbers. For the power structure, I made a little diagram to show you what the natural structure of power should be. And as you can see, we start with God. God creates humanity. Humanity creates the constitutions. The constitutions create our governments, and the governments create corporations. I noted on the bottom, this is the order of service for the good of all. The corporations should be serving us. This is the natural order of power and how it should be. And you probably don't see this in your world. What you actually see is this other diagram of a pyramid, which is the corporation at the top. The corporation is incorporating governments, as we noted in the constitutional study. And the constitutions are meant to help humanity be incorporated. And the service of fictional entities that allow the corporation to enslave us, basically control us. That's the power structure that we see, but it's not necessarily reality. And obviously they take God out of it, and there is no order. So what I'd like to try to explain as far as how the structure is really an illusion of what you see, and how you can see what's really going on, the unseen, is to take a look at the power in numbers. And the power in numbers has been explained through mathematics. For instance, the other night I was watching a show on Showtime called Imitation Game, where a group of mathematicians broke the Enigma code in World War II to win the war. Now, obviously, they didn't do this instantly. They had patience and they had strategy to overcome what was considered an evil force in the world. The mathematicians were able to use the code breaking method to slow down the war, stop the war, and stop the evil. So I see this happening with the people being the code breakers, the actual ability to figure out the matrix. Like I was mentioning in a blog earlier about the United States constitutional study, how that's brought forward. The people have been doing this for years now. They've been very patient. They've been unveiling many things that we have not seen in our everyday life, because the media has blocked that from our view. We are the power in numbers, and we have to understand this. One of the things that that Karen has presented to us is the power transition model, and I'm bringing that up because this is another group of mathematicians that have basically shown us through something solid, mathematics, that we have a 90 to 95% likelihood to go back to the rule of law. And I'll take you back to the rule of law is really this principle here, that we are going by our God-given rights. And the power is going from this pyramid versus the other pyramid that we see in our world today. So the rule of law versus the network of global corporate control, the corporate control that we talk about in the blogs, is actually not in power. It is losing power, and that's what the transition is all about. It's transitioning this paradigm, this pyramid, from one system of unbelief to a reality. And I mentioned the collective unconscious early on in a lot of my blogs and talking with Karen. And I'm presenting to you how this actually occurs in our world, in our everyday world, how the spirit is moving. It is moving the people as a group to become more aware. And you can see this in the media, but it's not necessarily something that your perspective would key into. For instance, the other night I watched a special on Russell Brand. He, of course, everybody knows that he divorced Katy Perry. And, he's now more into the spiritual. He's more into explaining how the government is actually trying to harm you. So he's actually connecting to these principles that I'm telling you about. So when I'm bringing all this out, it's to connect the dots that the people are actually all around the world in different positions, opening up their mind, their perspectives to see the reality of what really goes on. And I brought up the imitation game because that actually shows you throughout history we have gone through many power transitions. And this particular power transition is a little bit higher in the level that the people are connecting to it. Our consciousness is moving way beyond where it's ever been before. And you can see that all around you when your perspective is keyed into the notion that, actually there is something moving, something connecting us all, this collective unconscious that is bringing us up toward good, obviously. So the name that we put on it is the rule of law. So the coalition is every one of us. The coalition is all of us. We are the dots. I brought a little picture to show how that can change the structure. When you know that you are a part of each and every little dot that's connecting to make a beautiful picture, a connecting of a better structure than what we have today. What you see as unreality. And this transition is bringing us together. The internet is bringing us together. We're allowed to sit here and talk about this. And we know that every area of our world is coming together with this. Just look at Brazil. The people in Brazil are so passionate in bringing their God-given rights back to their country. They're putting out the corruption. And they're standing up. I mean, this is happening around the world. All people are feeling this unconscious movement toward good, toward the actual power structure that we need to be in. So I would say that what humanity really is wanting is to correct itself. We're correcting the negative, unwanted unrealities that we see in our environment. And just like Karen's interview with Nick, he is another piece to that puzzle. I got to watch his interview earlier, and I was really impressed with his ability to show how unique we are. Each individual has a unique position to make the whole structure a beautiful picture. And that is so true. I mean, we can't help but understand that we really are connected. We are making this movement. And although it's unseen, we use mathematics to prove it. And that's why Karen has often put out the power transition model for people to see. But what you need to connect with is the power is transitioning to a good thing. And we really need to connect with that. Well, we started with the question, who controls the world? And I guess my point in this interview is we the people have the power. We have the control. And I'll just finish up with a little quote that I got from Father David. Now that we are going to start doing the things we have been talking about and dreaming of. Why? Because we are spirit-driven people, and we will win. Thank you.